Welcome to Cojones Icons, the series where we look at and interview people who've done wonderful things, great achievements, and looked at the single ingredient that we consider has had the greatest effect on seeing them achieve such success. Today, a very, very special guest, and someone who paradoxically, you'll know who I'm talking about when I say, "Who are you?"
Yeah, that was a famous speech, wasn't
That
it?
most famous speech.
Yeah, it was.
He is King of Cojones, Mr. Nigel Farage. Nigel,
Thank you.
very nice to meet you again. We have met before. You probably won't remember. Very nice of you to agree to doing this. I wanted to ask you. You've had amazing boldness, audacity, courage to achieve amazing things for yourself and for the country. Have you always had that drive, that audacity, and that courage and that boldness?
Well, whatever I've done, I've always tried to do it to the absolute best of my abilities. I'm a trier. I'm competitive. Not keen on losing. But I've also, in life, followed a path and thought, this doesn't work, and given it up. Because you have to be realistic.
Of course.
And I can't quite describe what happened to me in the early 1990s, but I think the equivalent would be finding God. You know how some people, your best friend overnight becomes a born-again Christian, and they change the whole of their life, and they dedicate themselves to a new path. And it was during that period of the early 1990s when I saw the British political class take us into something called the exchange rate mechanism, pegging us against the Deutschmark. I thought it was cretinous at the time. And within 2 years, we had record bankruptcies, record house repossessions. And it was the first time I thought, I've just got no confidence in this mob at all. I think I could do better. I think I can see a better vision. So I got involved with a completely brand new political party, which was formed in 1993, called UKIP, and I was there on the ground floor, 12 odd people, as I always call them. And from that moment on, I never doubted from that moment on that not only was it the right thing to do, but that at some point in time, it would take off. Now, it was a long wait. It took a hell of a long time. And we had little successes along the way. In 1999, 3 of us got elected to the European Parliament, and that was a bit of a moment. But really, as a national political force, it didn't really get going until 2012. So it was nearly 20 years of
That's a long time.
Hard pounding of everyone around me thinking I must be nuts.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been criticised beyond belief. You've been accused of the most horrible things. You've even had threats on your life, I understand.
Of course.
What's given you that boldness? Where does it come from? Were you bold as a kid? Where did it come from?
I think naturally you clearly have to be somebody that's got a degree of self-confidence to pursue a path like this. But it was just an absolute belief on this issue. And I did it to my own detriment, economically, socially, business-wise, family-wise, in every sense. Most of that 20-year period before it took off was much to my own detriment. Just absolute belief that we were pursuing the wrong course as a nation.
Was it belief in yourself?
No, belief in the cause.
And what about
belief
in yourself?
It was belief in the cause, and it was the belief that there was no one else there to do it. I didn't see anybody else who actually, frankly, had the balls to do it.
Well, that's what we're here for, to talk about Nigel's balls. I mean, did you know that you've got excuse the, I'm an honest guy like you, exceptionally big balls. Did you know that?
No, and every time you step onto a different level, you ask yourself the question, crikey, can I do this? Am I up to it? And each time those tests came, we got through them.
So you do have, in your back of your mind, you have some negative self-talk, you have some doubts, you have some down periods.
Oh, I don't think, I don't think the best batsman in the world, when he goes to the crease at a test match, doesn't, as he walks out there, have some doubts. Am I going to nick one and get out for a duck?
How do you overcome those doubts, Nigel? I mean, you obviously, I've performed before, and obviously there's always nerves. I mean, there was nerves coming to interview you here, and of course, when you go to the point, the nerves dissipate. But how do you? I mean, you must have had effects. It must have affected your family life, your personal life, and there must have been times when you went to bed at night where you thought, what am I doing? and it must have got you down. It must have had some. Did you have what negative self-talk did you have?
I think you go through. If you're front facing for a huge amount of the day, and I think back on the big campaigns, you know, when you're literally out in front of people and with cameras taking pictures of you, you know, for maybe 7, 8, 9 hours in a day, that is an incredible amount of pressure to go through. And you're out there and you're fully charged, you're running on adrenaline. When it stops, you do have down moments. Of course,
are you a good sleeper?
Not particularly, no. No, not particularly. You do have down moments because naturally, if you're living on adrenaline, when it's not there, you tend to get a little bit gloomy, and it, you know, or thoughtful at least.
So you are human.
You're thoughtful. You know, you get thoughtful, and you think, oh, I could have done that better, or wasn't that great, or whatever you think at the end of a long day.
Was there ever a point you say, I've got to stop this? This is not good for me.
There are points.
I doubt myself.
There are points when I thought this is not rational. The only time through all of it, really, and I'm thinking about European elections and general elections and goodness knows what, the only time it really got tough was the weekend before the referendum. And that was because of the murder of Joe Cox. You know, a random act of madness, violence. But it was quite clever the way the establishment tried to parcel that tragedy into being my fault. And I think
which is an incredible weight, an incredible accusation to even bear, because the ordinary person would just literally crack.
I think, you know, I realised the Sunday, I did the round of the TV studios on the Sunday, and that was tough. And I think the Monday and Tuesday mornings, getting up, and thinking, crikey, you know, I'm going to go back into all this again. So, didn't doubt I could do it, but yeah, I was pretty thoughtful.
Have you always had self-belief?
To a degree.
Your parents instilled that into you?
To a degree, yes. But as I say, it was just, you know, look, had it not been for this cause, I would have stayed in the metals trading business, probably made quite a lot of money, probably been massively overweight, and with not much of a liver left. And that would have been my life. I'd probably be retired now or whatever. So no, this was the cause that changed my life, and that's why I equate it to people that find God. I found something that I thought mattered. I found something that I thought I could make a difference on. I picked it up and I ran with it.
Was it a totally selfless act? I mean, to go through all that, was it totally selfless? I mean, you know, you can tell me, was there an element of enjoying the limelight, having your ego massaged
believe you
to a
me,
certain degree? Was there any element of that as well?
There wasn't much limelight for the first 15 years. Little bits of it, but there wasn't very much of it.
Yeah.
No, my overnight success took 20 years.
So it was an utterly selfless act, and you just saw the goal, and you loved your country that much.
Yeah, I did, but I also enjoyed doing it, and I love the diverse, eclectic group of people. You see, naturally, when you're in an anti-establishment political party based on strong convictions, you draw in individuals. Now, some of them are crackers.
Well, you drew me in.
You know, but a lot of them are great fun, and people from all walks of life. And I think what really sustained me through all of it was the fact that I enjoy people. I'm very gregarious. You know, I just enjoy that buzz of being with people. So, you know, even...
You seem a bit of an introvert to me.
Yeah, well, compared to Trump I am.
Yeah.
No, I most of the journey I enjoyed. There were bits of it that were hateful. I mean, the biggest disappointments in politics, and you get it in the rest of your life too, but the biggest disappointments in politics are people on your own side, people who you've helped, people who you've promoted who turn against you. And that is the hardest thing. That level, you know, if you feel personally betrayed in any aspect of your life, it's a very tough thing to deal with. And it happens in politics more than any other walk of life.
And you've managed to find a way to sort of brush yourself off and go through that.
You just have to. You just have to. And you become incredibly thick-skinned, I mean, in terms of the media.
So you develop that?
Yes, you do. I don't think anybody goes into it with a naturally thick skin.
No.
I mean, some obviously, if you were hypersensitive, you'd crack within weeks and just run away screaming. So
I think Michael Portillo kind of mentioned that he just didn't have that level of thick skin.
Yeah, he did, and he was very honest about it. You know, it's rare that people in politics are as honest as Michael was. But no, I mean, when you're coming under wholesale attack, you know, I mean, to begin with, it's quite difficult, and then you just think, sod it.
Well, that brings me on to another thing. I mean, we're almost coming to a close here, but you have been criticised for saying it as it is. And I actually talk to people and audiences about having cojones is also about speaking out, saying it as it is. All this nonsensical political correctness, it's not really what I want to hear. And it's interesting how they call it political correctness. Politicians, all it means is it's lying. It's lies. Political correctness means lies. And everyone knows that politicians lie. So people criticise politicians for lying, and yet they criticise you for being honest. Do you think that we're coming to a point? We had Brexit last year. We had a point where Donald Trump has won the American election. We're coming to a point in the world where people have had enough and are saying it's time to end political correctness. It's time to say it as it is. I mean, would you not say that?
I do. I think 2016 is a remarkable pivot year. I think it's a year that saw a rebirth of the concept of nation-state democracy. I think it's a year that saw the public saying we want people that speak out, even if we don't agree with everything they say. At least we respect the fact they've got an honesty to tell us who they are and what they stand for. And yeah, I think it's changed.
What would you like? I mean, I know what I'd like Theresa May to go and say to Donald Trump. You know, I'd like her to have fun and say something like, come on, you're a billionaire. You should be able to afford a decent hairdresser. Or I'm sorry, I didn't do my apprenticeship.
She won't do that.
Or she could go and say to him, look, I'm sorry I didn't do my apprenticeship. You know, I had to work my way up into down the street. I'm sorry I didn't you know, get my kit off first, or something like that. But have some fun, be open. What would you tell her to say to Donald Trump? He's an open guy.
Well, not to lecture him, because all the rumours are she's going to lecture him on women's issues. That would be a huge mistake, I think, if she did that. I think it's going to be a very interesting cultural clash, because they're so different, it's unbelievable. Let's hope, in the interests of our country, that opposites attract.
Well, I don't think the husband. I don't think Theresa May's husband.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be there as well. I'm sure he'll be the responsible adult that's there. No, I don't know. Let's see. But they are incredibly different people.
As a ballsy man, Nigel, a very ballsy man, and we're wrapping up now. First of all, there's two things I want you to say. Perhaps, what could you learn from Donald Trump's ballsiness? Is there anything you could learn?
I think, to be honest with you, what Trump has done is some very similar things to what I've done. He's just done it on a bigger stage. So I think our approach to issues, to politics, to people are remarkably similar. We're coming to an end now, Nigel. I wonder if there's anything that I thought to not ask you. I know you're a busy man. Well, the great thing, I think the one piece of advice I give to people who have a conviction in life and who have a belief, who have a dream. And that is, if you're going to pursue a big goal, a big dream, not only do you have to be ballsy and strong and tough, you also have to be patient. And the problem is that most people who've got great courage have very little patience. And that's the one piece of advice. If you're bold, you want to change the world, remember, you won't do it overnight. Well, that is fantastic advice. Nigel, before we go, we've got our crackerjack pencil moment, or our blankety-blank checkbook and pen moment. We've got a special edition Cojones t-shirt to give to the king of Cojones. Let's get it right straight. You just got to promise me you'll wear this in the White House, okay? All right, there you have it. There you go. He's going to wear this in the White House, all right? Donald, be warned. The Donald will approve. And there's something else here, which is a metaphor for you, okay? Because this is exactly what you've got. And that is a pair of steel Thank you very much. Balls. Brilliant. It's a true metaphor for you. Very funny. And they're a stress reliever as well, Nigel. And one thing I'd like to say is, Donald Trump always says, God bless America. Yeah. I say, let's pump fists and say, God bless Great Britain. God bless Great Britain. And thank you very much for the interview. Nice.